struggle a little bit with this going back to being. I I can't seem to find it, if that makes any sense.
You're absolutely right, Martin. You can't find it. Trying to find your being would be like trying to see your eyes.
Okay.
Why can't you see your eyes? You can see everything else apart from your eyes. Why?
Because I'm looking through them.
But because your eyes are, in order to see something, you need to stand apart from it. You can see my face because it's a meter away from your eyes, roughly. You can see the back wall of your room because it's 3 or 4 meters away. You can see your hand. All these objects you can see because you stand at a distance from them. Now, the same is true of knowing something. Just as it is physically only possible to see something that we stand at a distance from, all knowledge, with one exception, I'll come back to that in a minute, all knowledge takes place in subject-object relationship. We can only know something that we stand apart from as a separate subject of experience. The only reason we can know a thought is because we stand apart from it as the knower. Now, that's true of all experience apart from one experience, and that is the knowing of being. In other words, the knowing of our being is the only experience there is that doesn't take place in subject-object relationship. All other experience, I feel sad, I love you, I see the tree, I feel hungry. All these experiences, subject joined to an object with a verb. All experience takes place in subject-object relationship except the awareness of being. And the awareness of being, the subject and the object are the same. When we say, I know myself, the I that knows and the self that is known are the same. So it's our knowledge of ourself, our knowledge of our being is a unique experience. It doesn't take place in subject-object relationship. And for that reason, you say, I can't find myself. You're right. You can't find yourself. You can't find yourself as an object. If I were to ask you now, can you find your thoughts? Of course you can. Can you find the sensation at the soles of your feet?
Yeah.
Of course. Can you find a memory of breakfast this morning?
Yeah.
All of these are objects that you know. You stand as the knower of them. Subject, knowing an object. But our knowledge of ourself doesn't take place in subject-object relationship. When we say, I know that I am, the I that I am and the I that knows that I am are the same. So although we never know ourselves as an object, we cannot say that we do not know ourselves. If I were to ask you now, are you aware?
Yes.
What would you say? You would say yes. Well, what is it that knows or is aware that you are aware?
That's
it's awareness. It's awareness.
Okay.
So it is awareness that knows that it is aware. That is awareness, is knowledge of itself. That experience doesn't take place in subject-object relationship. It's like the sun illuminates itself. It illuminates the moon. The sun illuminates the moon. The sun is the subject of the illumination, and the moon is the object that is illuminated. The sun illuminates the moon. The sun illuminates the earth. But the sun also illuminates itself. But it doesn't do so by shining its light on itself, because it can't stand apart from it. It stands apart from the world and illuminates it from a distance. It stands apart from the moon and illuminates it from a distance, i.e. in subject-object relationship. But it can't stand apart from itself and illuminate itself in subject-object relationship, but it still illuminates itself. So awareness is like that. It knows everything in subject-object relationship apart from itself, which it knows, which it illuminates or knows just by being itself. So that's why you quite rightly say, I can't find myself. I can't find myself either. But at the same time, I know that I am. And that knowledge of our own being, the awareness of being, is a unique experience. It's the only experience there is that doesn't take place in subject-object relationship.
So do I need to somehow step back from the intellect, from the intellectual understanding of this?
Well, yes, the intellectual understanding is just a formulation of the understanding. For instance, when you say, let's go back to the question I asked you. If I ask you now, are you aware?
Yeah, I think so.
You think you are aware, or you know you are aware?
I mean, it may be worth adding that I have been kind of in the spiritual world for probably about
Martin,
8 years now.
If you were not aware, how would you be seeing my face or hearing my voice?
That's a good point.
Well, let me ask you again. Are you aware?
I am. Yes.
Yeah. Are you in any doubt at all that you are aware?
Not really, but there is a small doubt there, I think.
Well, if you were not aware, you would not be having an experience.
True. Yes. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
So anyway, ponder that question. Your certainty that you are aware is in fact more certain than anything that you are aware of. However, that's not the point I want to make. I want to respond to your question about intellectual understanding. Although we can formulate, when we hear the question, are you aware? We formulate the answer yes. The reason we answer yes is because we actually experience being aware. In other words, being aware is your experience. That's why I asked you the question. I wanted you to see that it is your experience that you are aware. You can then formulate that by saying, I am aware. But even in the absence of that formulation, the experience of being aware is still there.
Okay. Yeah. I think that makes sense. Can I ask another question about the meditation this morning?
Yes.
So when I was sitting there trying to be in being, which sounds silly now, I was very aware of a heaviness in my chest, and a sort of a coldness around me.
All right.
That's quite often happened in meditations in the past, and I've struggled to make sense of it.
All right. So Martin, you said when in meditation this morning, I was aware of a heaviness in my chest and a coldness. Now, there are two elements to this experience. I was aware of the heaviness in my chest, or I was aware of a coldness, or I was aware of the sound of your voice. Now, if I were to ask you to describe the heaviness or the coldness or the sound of my voice or whatever you were aware of, you would describe the sensation and the sound and so on. But I'm not going to ask you that. I'm going to ask you about the other aspect of the experience. When you say, I was aware of the heaviness, tell us about the I that was aware. Tell us about that one. I mean, the same I is now aware of our conversation, yes?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I'm not really sure how to answer that.
Perfect, but try. You're quite right. It's difficult, but just try. Don't tell us what you were aware of. Tell us what you mean about the I. When you say I was aware, what is this I that is aware? Try to describe it.
I mean, I mean, my mind's sort of telling me that it's the I is awareness.
No, but I want, I don't want you to refer to your mind. When you say I was aware, I is yourself. You use the word more often than you use any other word. Don't refer to your past knowledge. Right now, you are aware of our conversation. I am aware of our conversation. Tell us about that from your experience.
I'm still not sure how to answer it. I mean,
That's perfect,
I can
Martin.
hear
It's
your
perfect.
voice. I
No,
can.
it's perfect. You're right. You're right. You're right. If I'd asked you to describe my voice or the coldness or the heaviness, you would have just started straight away describing it. But you paused, and your pause was beautiful. It was the best answer you could have given. I was pushing. I'm glad you didn't say anything, but I wanted you to realize for yourself that although this I is yourself, when you look at it, so to speak, when you try to say something about it, you can't. Why not? Because there's nothing objective there for you to know. If I'd asked you about your thoughts, your feelings, your sensations, you would have told us all about them.
Yeah.
But when I asked you about I, you fell silent. Why? Because there's nothing objective there to know and therefore to describe. But that's the direction to go in. You're doing exactly, you said you were new to this, Martin, but you're doing, in this approach, being new or old is really irrelevant. What's important is the clarity and the focus and the intensity of our interest. And you're doing exactly the right thing. You're asking the right questions. And just keep going in this way, exploring, asking questions, not parroting what anybody else says, but sticking to your own experience. You're going the right way. Just keep going.
Okay. Thank you, Rupert.